All right, so it's a podcast without Matt.
Yeah, how do you like that?
It doesn't feel right. It feels like we're cheating on him.
Well, he just said the sexual tension was getting too much for him, so he had to step out. I think he's actually going to go to our HR department.
This is true, which conveniently I'm in charge of the HR department, so it's going to be a little weird.
Yeah. It'll be a little awkward. But
So if you're just stumbling upon us and wondering who's Matt and what the hell we're talking about, well, we are actually from another podcast called The Podcasting Dead, and don't worry, Matt has not quit the podcast. JP and I follow the comics. Matt is more along the lines of the show. So we figured we would start doing a podcast once a month just to discuss the newest issue of The Walking Dead. And it probably wouldn't be that fun for Matt, being he doesn't read them, because then it would, so.
Yeah, and we don't want to spoil it for him. And plus, it's just super early, and he's probably, asleep.
Yeah, no doubt. So, but if you are a regular listener, hello, Abe. I guess a bonus podcast.
Yeah, bonus
week.
Content, baby.
So we're talking about issue 173 that just came out from the Walking Dead comics. What a great issue, because jumping from last week's issue, I was like, oh no. Poor sweet Jesus.
Yeah, man. I thought we haven't really had a big random death since Abraham. Right. I mean, I know Father Gabriel, that was kind of sudden and unexpected.
And Andrea, but
yeah.
But I mean, they kind of drew that out.
How could I forget about Andrea?
Well, Andrea was kind of drawn out, though.
Yeah, it was. I mean? It wasn't just like, bam, she's dead, yo.
Like, I really thought Jesus was about to catch Beta's machete.
Oh, me too,
And he and Aaron just got together, and they seemed so happy.
Yeah, I know. I figured at least one of them was going to die for sure.
Yeah. But unfortunately, they didn't. And what's so cool is if you go back and you listen to our podcast about this past weekend's episode of The Walking Dead, I was just complaining / congratulating, because Jesus, I feel, is very underwritten in the show, because in the comics, Jesus is such a pivotal character. He's important. He's probably the best hand-to-hand combatant in the Walking Dead universe. Yeah. And he's always doing badass stuff that other people in the comics can't do. And in the show, I mean, we had him, he did the cool little, arm swing to Rick when they first met, and then he, jumped off a truck and kicked some zombies. But to this point, we've not seen the badass Jesus that we know and love until the last episode, which he kind of, leg sweep that guy. But then we were just talking about that earlier, and then this issue comes out, and we're shown even more badass Jesus.
Yeah, man, he's a force, I mean, Beta, with his size, man, it's almost like the Hound from Game of Thrones.
It is,
yeah.
And it's crazy. So we find out his origins. He was a famous basketball player.
Yeah, how do you like that?
Who, when zombies rose, just gave up the fame and the fortune and just to wear dead people's skin and stab people. Yeah,
and who knows? Maybe he was doing that all along in the real world.
Right.
Perfect timing. Now I can be my true self.
It was really cool to see that guy, because he looked so normal. You know what I mean? You're so used to Beta being this towering, just lumberjack, zombie faced guy, and they pull the mask and he's just like a clean shaven, normal looking dude.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe they actually took him out. But I mean, it looks like Robert Kirkman and what they're doing is just clearing off the remainder of the Whisperers to set up for what's coming next.
Yeah, it was so great to see some normal people trying to get incorporated into the Whisperer group.
Yeah.
And they're just have we got to wear the skin masks? It's kind of smelly. I'm not really into this. And
I really thought when they showed that family and Jesus started offing them, he was going to accidentally kill them too, thinking they were a member.
The first guy he killed, I was like, did he just kill the guy who was not trying to who wasn't into this?
I don't want to put the mask on. Something bad's going to happen.
Yeah, I like my name. I don't get a name. This seems like it's going to be very confusing.
I love
names.
And what was it? Was it Jesus or Aaron that was trying to give them was it Aaron? When they were we have a community, kind of he gave Rick and them the talk, and Jesus was was it one of the two of them tried to give them the talk, and the other was just they've been through a lot. Let's talk to them about it a little bit later on.
Yeah, it was one of the two, but
It was a good issue. And now, you said it earlier off the mic, it seems like Eugene may have led the group into something bad again.
Yeah, he's really on a roll. First he kills Andrea, and now he's found some big super group of New World Order Nazis or so. I don't know if they're Nazis, but they don't seem very friendly. I mean, they seemed friendly on the radio, but
yeah, just a cruel ploy to get Eugene.
I think they lured him right in.
Now, we know covers of The Walking Dead can be a little misleading. They always do that. We saw, for that 25-cent issue, a couple of issues back, Rick's prosthetic hand in a crowd of zombies, hinting Rick would be killed, and he certainly wasn't. Now, this one, Jesus, they had Jesus cowering on the cover, and I was like, that's not the Jesus we know and love, and then he immediately just... So, I mean, it's almost like they do the opposite of what's going to happen. But this next cover looks pretty solid. I mean, it looks like a pair of... Have you seen it yet?
Is it the one with they're in the armor and they're just standing there?
Like they're wearing the white armor and suits.
New World Order.
Yeah.
So that's the next issue.
I think that's who Eugene and them just ran into.
Yeah, I think so. I wasn't sure if that was 175 or if that was the one coming up. But either way, it's right around the corner. Yeah, and they look like some bad mamma jammas.
I think I read that's going to be a several issue story arc too. I don't know exactly how long it's going to run, but it's going to be a couple of issues. A lot of issues. So I'm really looking forward because it's going to be something completely different than we're used to. You know what I'm saying? We're normally so used to other, I don't know, this looks like a high-tech, highly organized group of people. Yeah. Maybe there's still some leftover government.
That's what I was thinking. Like remnants of the government. They're going to be like, hey, Rick, we still know about those personal property taxes you never paid. And, Jesus, your little Mary Jane garden back there, that's got to go. They're going to come down on them.
That's so funny. It's they'll come up and be like, Rick, we've been following you since the beginning. We're willing to look past all of the murders, all of the brutal things that you've done, but those property taxes, Rick, when you bought that new F-150, you knew that you were going to have to pay for it. And it's now been, what are they like? I mean, we had a 3-year jump. So, I mean, they're probably 4, 5, 6 years. I'm sure the hardcore fans are going to be cussing us out and be like, you should know it's. Yeah. But I can't. It's been so. I mean, this comic's been going for so long. I mean, it's hard to remember every little thing. But so we're 4 or 5 years into the apocalypse or whatnot, I would imagine. So it's Rick, you owe some back taxes on this truck your house.
Think of the hospital bill that must have accrued while he was in that coma.
This is true.
We
can't write this off,
That
Rick.
ain't free, pal. I'm telling you, I got in that situation with Dr. Gherkin when I had my testicular varicosis repaired, and they don't play around. That's all I'm going to say. And I don't want to talk about it. About the condition.
You know what? I don't think I want to talk about that either. I don't think I want to discuss anything that really involves JP's testicles.
A lot of swelling.
But, so it'd be the whole time. It's instead of fighting, it's just Rick going, I got to figure out how to make enough money to make some payments on all this money I owe. Yeah. I miss you, Andrea. And speaking of missing you, Andrea, we're seeing Rick's really taking this hard.
Yeah, he's still not over it.
I don't want to say, it's only time will tell. I don't know if he's taking this as hard or less hard than he was with Lori, because you got to remember with Lori, I mean, he was talking to a dead woman on a telephone for the longest time. So, I mean, he definitely didn't take the Lori death easy either. But I just feel like there's something different with Andrea. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think there was a different connection there.
She wasn't, bumping fuzzies with his best friend.
That's true.
That's one thing. And,
she was just bumping uglies with the granddad of the group.
Yeah, a little weird. But
I wonder if Rick was ever like, yeah, you like this young man body?
Oh man, old saggy balls.
I miss Dale. Yeah, you miss these. You like these firmer balls?
Oh boy.
But no, I do. I miss Dale. Dale in the show was great, but Dale in the comics was awesome. That when the actor quit the show because he left pretty much. From what I've read, because Frank Darabont left. I mean, and then changed his mind or had a change of heart, the day they were filming his death. But by that point, they were like, man, we can't go back and rewrite this.
Yeah, wheels are in motion.
But Dale was such a good character in the comics, and it was sad to see him not get to live up to that in the show. And it's even sadder to know that it wasn't a writer's thing, that they probably would have taken it on through. But, so... But so Rick definitely not coping with the death of Andrea, because I feel like Lori was more like a chore to him. Lori was the wife he had to protect. And to her credit, I mean, she was pregnant with Shane's baby, but she was pregnant, and so it was more or less he had to protect her. There was only so much that she could help with, where Andrea was truly like a partner to him. You know what I mean?
She was a soulmate.
Yeah, she was able-bodied. She had his back, and he could depend on her. She was faithful. I mean, she just was again, Andrea in the comics, I loved. Andrea in the show couldn't die soon enough.
Yeah, I'm telling you, stupid Eugene riding into that herd of zombies like Indiana Jones.
Yep.
She has to save his stupid pear-shaped butt.
I was really thinking that was going to be like just a scratch or like a bullet grazed her, and they were going to take the easy way out. And then when it actually was a straight up bite, I was like, "Oh my god!"
Like you said, the covers are often so misleading. You're like, they put it on the cover. There's no way this is actually happening, but baby, it actually happened.
I read a really touching article in the back, where it's like Robert Kirkman answers, where he said that like when he wrote that on the airplane or whatever, he was writing the script out. That like it made him cry. Like it's. I imagine you're kind of like God to these characters. You create them and you control everything, and then just to kill one off to be a serious, writer, it's probably not as easy to do as people think it is.
Yeah.
But Rick definitely having a hard time dealing with the death of Andrea, and we see little pimp Carl is between two women, man. Like what's her name? What's the girl that he's with now?
The Whisperer Girl.
The Whisperer Girl. Name, again, to the hardcore comic fans, I'm sorry, I can't. Lydia, that's it.
There you go.
It's just so many. We watch Game of Thrones, Strange. There's so many things that we watch and keep up with. Sometimes names, evade us.
I'm not good at names in real life, so comics, get out of here.
But Lydia did not seem too happy when Carl just spoke to Sophia.
Yeah, I think she's going to straight up murder Sophia, or at least try to.
Yeah, because that wasn't even flirty talk either. I mean, not really. No. It was playful talk between friends, but it wasn't all that flirty in nature. I didn't feel, and then Lydia just gave that look like, I'm from the Whisperers, bitch. Yeah, like I will kill you in your sleep.
Where she comes from, I mean, it's dog eat dog,
Alpha, yeah. Her mother, Alpha, got to be alpha, but you just kill for it. You know what I mean? And so now we see Maggie. Do you think Maggie was flirting with Homeboy? Because remember, Homeboy came in while she was staring at the map, because she's definitely Negan's. I'm happy to say that Negan's definitely, I think, his arc's far from over. We hadn't seen him this issue, but I definitely think that we're going to have some conflict between Rick and Maggie over Negan. I feel, because Negan saved Rick on multiple occasions.
Yeah, I think Maggie's going to send that dude who's into her after Negan. Negan's going to kill him. It's the second man in her life he's taken out. And
you think that's what's got? Because I was wondering, because all she said was he was like, you should be fussing at me, telling me to get out, and yada yada yada. And then she's like, hey, wait, or come here, come back, whatever she said, like telling him to whatever. So maybe that is. I was wondering if that was maybe like, we're going to next comic see them laying in bed together.
Yeah, that would be nice too. That'd be some good pillow talk. Now, this is how I want you to kill Negan. I want you to sneak up on him and put some shoelaces, wrap them around his neck and get him from behind. And then he'll say, well, speaking of getting him from behind.
Yeah, I definitely see some conflict coming. I mean, I don't necessarily. I think that Rick. I hate to say that I think Rick would. I don't think he would fight Maggie per se, but I definitely see some issue because A, Negan saved him multiple times. Yep. B, Negan has been the guiding voice of helpful advice before to Rick, and C, Negan calmed a rebellion. The Saviors were getting ready to try to take over Alexandria and completely just dethrone Rick and everything, and Negan's the one that just stepped up and shut that shit down.
Yeah.
So,
and Rick's not crazy about execution, I mean, he probably wouldn't have killed Gregory, and Maggie straight up, hung him from a tree. Yeah. So, I mean,
it's going to be interesting, or how tragic do you think? And I mean, of course, these are just wild predictions because you never know where these comics are going.
No.
Robert Kirkman does such a better job in the comics of keeping them unpredictable than they do on the show.
I think he's got a lot more control over the comic for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot less fingers in the pie, so to speak.
I mean, there are some deaths that he's regretted, like Abraham. He said he kind of wished he wouldn't have killed him off that way. But then again, the shock value, man. You didn't see that.
Absolutely.
You didn't see that coming.
He went into that whole war without his main muscle.
Yeah.
So that made for some good storytelling.
Yep. So I mean, it sucked, but at the same time, it worked. And so, do you think perhaps Maggie will end up getting herself killed by Negan, which will then take all of the good, reignite the beef between he and Rick?
It could very well happen.
I'm interested to see where they're going with Rick, man, because he seems to be getting weaker. He's older, I know, but he's getting weaker. He's on a cane. It's not as much badass Rick as he can be. So I'm really. I mean, they say that there's no end in sight right now for the comic. So I'm interested to see. how that plays out. Kirkman says he's going to kill Rick at some point.
Yeah, he says a lot of things. Mm-hmm. But, it was interesting with Dwayne. Dwayne's kind of, I guess, like feeling for Rick, or is he like sensing his... I don't know. It was hard to read. He's like seeing Rick
Dwight?
grieving. Or Dwight. Did I say
Dwayne? Morgan's son's alive?
Yeah. He's actually still alive.
I thought he was a zombie. No. Yeah, no, but Dwight, man, I like that that girl set him straight. I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but basically the one that has the hots for him.
Yeah, like punk.
Yeah, and he's, she tells him, she's like, look, if you want to keep pining after, because that's what we're all thinking. Like, man, you're getting ready to go after Rick, who has been, since you've joined his side, is a fair and good man.
Yeah.
For a girl that continuously screwed you over, and I wouldn't doubt for a second if I was Dwight that she tried to kill. Love's a strange thing, but I love that she set him straight in that right. She's like, you're gonna, if you want to keep pining over a woman that screwed you over time and time again, go ahead. But if you get over it, I might still be into you.
It's just like T Swift said, boys only want love when it's torture, something like that. That's Dwight all over.
I love that on our Walking Dead podcast, you choose to quote Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. You listen to what you want to listen to.
Well, no, I actually
just
think...
not where I would have imagined a Taylor Swift quote.
But boys only want love when it's torture. Yeah,
look at you, man. And you were talking crap about Taylor Swift when we were in the gym the other day.
I think she's ruined an entire generation of young women, but that's a whole nother podcast.
Well... How interesting.
But those lyrics do fit in this particular situation.
Yeah. I mean, you want what you can't have, more or less. Yeah. I mean, you always are, when it comes easy, you usually don't want it. If it's something that somebody that's just there begging for your affection, it's just, you don't really care. If there's no challenge, it's just something inside you that doesn't find it,
Lord knows I've been there. But again, that's another podcast. We'll save that for Love Lines.
There you go.
Is that taken? I don't know.
We'll make it work. But, so, I mean, I'm trying to think, is there anything else to cover? Maggie's definitely still on the Negan hunt. I mean, she's sitting there talking like, you're just out there living a normal life. You haven't killed all these people. Like, you haven't ruined all these lives. And so we've got Rick still just in the dumps over Andrea. Mm-hmm. We've got Maggie still, bloodthirsty when it comes to Negan. We've got Carl stuck between... two young women who, I think equally want his affection.
Yeah, I think Carl's in the best position of anyone right now.
but Sophia's not. Yeah. Because when Lydia, keeps on getting wind of this, Lydia's going to be doing what whisperers do.
Yep.
That's going to be rough for Carl if she kills Sophia and then Carl has to kill her and then Carl's left with no women. I guess then he and his dad can have some talk about that. And like, son, I know what you're feeling. Times two. Yeah. But so we've got Carl in that scenario, Maggie in the Negan scenario, Rick still going over Andrea. Hopefully Dwight's been set straight a little bit by what that girl said to him, because I mean she defended Rick. She's like, this guy's it's a good guy. You know that, and so hopefully Dwight's been set straight. Jesus and Aaron both safe, thank God, bringing back a new family to civilization. Most of the whisperers, at least the most important one, are now eliminated.
Yeah, I think they're pretty much done for. Let's hope so.
Eugene has got us dropping our weapons to some unknown force we assume is probably the New World Order.
Eugene.
The leftover remnants of the government. We didn't see much of, was it last issue? We got that new character. What is her name?
Princess?
Princess, that's it. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how she plays into all of this. She's kind of the new wacky, character. But so we'll see how she plays into it. She just got with the group, so I guess now's when they'll have to see if they trust her, if there's any skirmish, with this new group. But I'm trying to think anything else left. Of course, Eugene probably still pretty hurt to find out that Siddiq, or however you say his name, Sadiq, that's it.
I think that's
had been, it might even possibly be baby daddy for Rosita.
Yeah.
I mean, she loved him and just kind of was pity screwing Eugene, but it was in love with him. So lots of cards on the table. It's interesting to see how this is going to play out. Is there anything you can think of that from this issue that we left out?
Nah, man. I think we rounded it up pretty good.
We'll start doing these once a month, so we'll be back next month for issue 174.
Yeah, and if you dig this, comment. I mean, me and Justin keep up with a lot of comics. If you want to hear what we think about Dark Knights going on with DC Comics.
Oh, so good.
We could cover that. I mean, Action Comics right now, the Oz Effect leading into Doomsday Clock. There's Marvel stuff going on with like the Legacy relaunch.
They're kind of like all rebooting kind of a reboot. I mean, it's continuing,
it's a soft
but
reboot.
you know.
So we're keeping up with all kinds of comic books. We actually have a comic shop right next door to where we work.
It's just so convenient.
Yeah. It's like
not for my wallet, but you know.
So yeah,
good point. We follow a lot of different comics, and if you enjoy our Walking Dead commentary, we've tossed around the idea of doing a weekly
straight up comic
podcast. Yeah. So I mean, if you do like this, comment. I mean, that's how we make most of our decisions. Like with our, and if you haven't already, subscribe to us and check back each week for where we talk about the show, because we do a weekly podcast about the show. We'd love to have you tune into that if you're new. If you do listen to that every week, thank you for listening to this. But comment, man. We make most of our decisions from the comment section.
It's true.
I mean, if you say, hey, we'd love to talk about. Because there is, like right now, especially in DC, the White Knight. I mean, we've got some really
Batman
good
White
stuff.
Knight, yeah.
There's some really good stuff going on in the comic world that we'd love to discuss. We just need to know what you want to talk about.
Yeah.
So, well, we will see you. Actually, we'll see you Monday.
Monday
to cover the next issue of The Walking Dead, and as far as episode.
Yeah.
And then we'll see you here for the comic cast next month.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, we get a lot of feedback.
Demand a bunch of other stuff.
I really want to talk about the White Knight.
Yeah, I know. There's so much good stuff coming out every week. So
I'm about to start on the comic, The Black Monday Murders, to which if they're good, then JP can read mine. And if you guys are into that, it looks really interesting. So the sky's the limit. So comic fans, comment, man. We'd love to talk to you.
Absolutely. And just please don't tell Matt we're doing this.
I don't think he'll know.
It's a secret.
I don't think he's subscribed to us.
Good. We're in the clear.
We'll have Matty D back with us in studio on Monday as we cover Sunday's episode of The Walking Dead. This will be the third episode, man. We're moving right on in. So
yeah, we are.
I'm Justin.
And I'm JP.
And we'll catch you next time.